his stock dropped considerably. He really hasn't been playing for a good while at all. Anyway, he's been down with injury. But Miles Turner's impact on the defensive side of the ball is not to be understated. I mean, he was averaging over 2.5 blocks a game, doing it on the defensive end. And Indy, the Pacers have really felt his absence on that side of the ball. They really weren't super strong defensively with him, but at the same time, he gave them a presence that, listen, I'm going to be the eraser. I'm going to erase all the mistakes that all my teammates are going to have on this end of the floor. All right. So Miles Turner is number 5 to me on the Defensive Player of the Year list. Number 4, right now, I know he brought it up, a couple of nights ago, but I got to give it to Bam at number 4. Bam's been doing his thing on that side of the ball all season long for Miami, and it looks like they're really starting to find their flow offensively and in some ways defensively. I mean, y'all remember the block in the bubble on Jason Tatum? That's probably going to be the all-time best blocks ever. Ever. His hand was in the rim. His hand was in the rim to block it. So, Bam, he comes in at number 4. All right. At number 3, I got to give it to my man, Drew Holiday, man. Drew Holiday of the Milwaukee Bucks. He's one of the most underrated players probably in the last 5 years. He does it on both sides of the ball. He's going to drop between 15 to 20 every game. He's going to give you about 5 or 6 assists. And he's going to steal the rock about 2 times a game, which is exactly where he is right now. He's averaging 0.7 blocks a game. He's going to be right there in the conversation. And I'm going to show him some love. I'm going to show Drew some love. Drew Holiday, number 3 on my Defensive Player of the Year list. At number 2, I got to give it to the Stifle Tower, Rudy Gobert. Every single year, this man is a monster in the paint. Every single time anyone tries to get into the lane against Utah, you got 7'2" with a ridiculous wingspan ready to deny you access to the cup. So you can already go. Rudy Gobert, number 2 on the Defensive Player of the Year. Number 1, I got my man Ben Simmons. Although he lacks everything else offensively, defensively, he's always in the top 5 in steals. And this season, he's been doing it a lot better, with his blocks as well. Philly's number 1 in the East, but I really need to see a lot more from this brother come playoff time offensively. But right now, he will lock your behind down on the defensive side of the ball. So I give my man Ben Simmons some love for Defensive Player of the Year. Listen, y'all, we're going to take a timeout. When we come back, I got the trivia question of the day, and we're going to move the chains. Don't touch the dial at all. Don't even think about it. Don't even have thoughts about it. All right? Y'all come on back, and we'll proceed with more of the Playbook Podcast. What's good, family? We're back inside the Playbook Podcast. Yo, listen, I need you guys to share, and subscribe on YouTube as well. Since we're on Spreaker, I need you to subscribe to the channel on Spreaker as well. The Playbook Podcast. Yo, get everything you need. Get this episode. Get last week's episode as well on Spreaker. Also, follow us on Spotify. I need you to go to Anchor. I need you to go to Google Podcasts. Wherever you find your podcast flavor. Yo, make sure y'all go ahead and subscribe and follow the Playbook Podcast, all right? Help a brother out. We're going to the masses. We're taking the barbershop and bringing it into your podcast, all right? We got to go ahead and make this worldwide. Worldwide, all right? That's the goal. That's really the goal right here on the Playbook Podcast. Again, man, I do appreciate all the support, the love, the encouragement that has been going out from so many of you guys. I do appreciate it. Again, leave your voice clips, your comments in the show notes, which will be at the bottom of the screen at the end, whether it's Spotify, whether it's Anchor, whether it's Spreaker as well. Leave your comments there, and I promise you, I assure you, I'll get back to you at my earliest convenience with it. All right? So listen, I got the trivia question of the day for you guys. All right? The trivia question of the day. Who was the first ever player selected in the first ever NFL draft back in 1936? Who was the first player selected in the first ever NFL draft back in 1936? I wasn't even thought of. I was just floating around in the atmosphere up in the heavens somewhere. So I don't even know about this one. I wasn't even around. This was the Great Depression type time. This was post-World War II type time, y'all. Y'all go ahead and find the answer to it. Let it sit and let it marinate. And we'll go ahead and take that answer when we get into college basketball on the other side. But without further ado, let's go ahead and move those chains. So listen, y'all, we're moving the chains. We're going to Jacksonville, Florida. Jacksonville, Florida is where we're finding out about one of the greatest phenomenons in football. Tim Tebow, y'all. Tim Tebow. Timothy Tebow is back in the NFL. The Jacksonville Jaguars decided to give my man another chance. Just like that old girlfriend that dumped you last year, and then you went ahead and brought her back home, brought her back into your life. That's pretty much what Jacksonville just did. The NFL didn't want nothing to do with Tim Tebow, but Jacksonville said, come on, we'll take you back. We'll take you back again. And that's exactly what they've done while deciding that, you know what? Maybe there's some promising free agents out there, but we'll take our chances with Tim because him and Urban Meyer have this magical relationship. Listen, I got nothing against Tim Tebow. He's a very awesome talent. I mean, he has an ability to be able to encourage, ignite, excite his teammates. But listen, Tim Tebow, let it go. Let it go. And it's not even just all you. Urban Meyer, let it go. I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to bring in somebody that understands his system, his mind, what happened at Florida with Tim Tebow. He's trying to recreate that type of magic in Jacksonville, where it's more like a college type of atmosphere. Because, I mean, it is in Florida. It's close to the beaches. You got these young guys as well on the team. So, you know, you don't want it to be too harsh like normal NFL coaches are. You know, he's just trying to have some fun. But listen, if you're really trying to build Jacksonville up quickly, do you bring in somebody like a Tebow now? It's questionable, man. It's questionable. I mean, you could have spent time trading for David Njoku with the Cleveland Browns right now. You could have spent time with that and bringing him in at tight end, someone that's already played the position, instead of trying to bring in Tim Tebow to make him into an NFL tight end. I don't like it, yo. I don't like. To me, if you're trying to win, then you're trying to win. Not trying to put on all these different experiments and projects along the way and then trying to see if they magically work. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And in this case, I don't think this is such a great experiment, honestly. Now, I could be wrong, and I want to be wrong because I have nothing against Tim Tebow. But when you have other free agents that can really, truly make an impact on your team right now, Why don't you go for them? Instead of trying to go for the publicity stunt that this seems like with Tim Tebow. Just my thoughts, y'all. What say you? Is this Jacksonville's ploy for a publicity stunt to bring in some dollars to the stadium? I don't know. I know Khan is more of a businessman more than anything else. You got AEW as well. Listen, to me, this smells and looks like a publicity stunt, man. It does. It really does. Regardless of whatever you have to say, man. This seems like a publicity stunt in Jacksonville. We'll see if it actually follows suit all the way through. We'll have to see. Speaking of quarterbacks, Indy has a new quarterback in the fold in the AFC South, in Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is in Indy now with his old coach, Frank Reich. He's trying to recreate, like we talked about earlier, some magic. Recreate the magic that was with Carson Wentz. Now, Indy went ahead and got Eric Fisher, left tackle, formerly with the Kansas City Chiefs, and brought him in. But Indy's trying to, reignite this confidence back in Carson Wentz. And they're also trying to supposedly go after Julio Jones. Now listen, if Indy finds a way to get a Julio Jones on the roster, as great as that offensive line is already, that defense is formidable with Darius Leonard patrolling the middle. Indy would be absolutely scary in the AFC South. I know you got Tennessee, and that's pretty much it. It's Indy and Tennessee in the AFC South. We're not talking about Houston. It's too much crazy stuff going on in Houston right now. And Jacksonville, they're a whole hot mess right now. They're a dumpster sale right now. So listen, Carson Wentz, you have a prime opportunity to win and win in an environment where nothing is really expected out of you. Nothing's really expected from him. They just want to see if he's ready to rebound. And we'll see. I'm not sure. I'm looking to see what type of spark he brings to the Indy locker room. What type of leadership he brings. Because if he does that same mess like he did in Philly, listen, you're going to be going out of town quickly, man. Faster than the Indy 500. Seriously. I mean, we'll see how Frank Reich is able to get into the mind and the psyche of Carson Wentz and what exactly happens to bring Indy out of just being a pretender and possibly a championship contender. We're talking about quarterbacks, so we're going to go ahead and talk about the biggest quarterback in the NFL right now, the reigning NFL MVP, Aaron Rodgers. This week, had a conversation with the Packers brass, and they were able to lay out a nice size grandfather offer, or godfather offer, if you will. A lot of money on the table, but Aaron Rodgers, he don't care about the money. I mean, Aaron Rodgers was probably about to get some Jeopardy money, He don't care about the money like that. It's a respect. It's the principle of the thing. Just like on Friday with Big Worm. It's the principle of why the Packers have decided to bring in 9 defensive players in the first round over the last 10 years. Why the Packers decided to draft Jordan Love at quarterback and not consult Mr. Rodgers. Listen, to me, some of this is more of, turnabout is fair play. Aaron Rodgers, you had the same thing happen where you were brought in to replace an icon like Brett Favre. So why are you getting your feelings, man? This is a business. You happened to run that business 15 years ago and ran Brett Favre out of town. So don't get mad when Green Bay is like, hey, this is business, right? Why are you getting in your feelings so much? I also understand that Aaron Rodgers wants to win another championship.